Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the top 5 things for kids' health. You know, so many parents are coming in and they're like, how do I help my child be healthier? How do I not make sure they get some of the big stuff like, you know, obviously cancers and things like that, but also just how can I get my child to not be so hyperactive? How can I get them to not have allergies all the time, digestive issues? I would say in the last 10 years, I said the last 5 years, I've been in practice for about 10 to 11 years now. And in the last 5 years, I've seen more kids coming in with digestive problems, babies coming in with digestive problems, acid reflux, constipation, things like that, colicky, than I ever saw before that. And just talking to older doctors, it's like it's becoming this epidemic. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I'm going to teach you guys 5 things today that you can do to actually start to shift that for your kids. Okay, now this isn't all the 5 things you should ever do, but these are 5 things that will be helpful and will get you moving in the right direction. Okay, number one thing right off the bat that I'm going to start with for kids. And now let me just talk. This is for for parents that are like, hey, my kid's dealing with ADD, ADHD, or my child has allergies all the time, or I feel like they just don't use the restroom like they should. It's not full. It's not how it should be. Maybe it's your child's wetting the bed. Maybe they get ear infections. All these things are actually health concerns. You know, I think I grew up with ear infections all the time, but my parents would say I was healthy. I would tell you that I wasn't healthy because I was getting ear infections all the time. You know, I see kids that are on allergy meds and have allergies and their parents say they're really healthy. That's not healthy. If your child's taking a medication, it's not healthy. And I would say that children really shouldn't ever be taking medications. Right now they want to prescribe medications for things like cholesterol, for anxiety, for depression. I mean, just crazy stuff for babies and kids. I mean, it's wild. So acid reflux, I think it's a wild medication to put a baby or a child on. And I get it, they're coughing up and things like that, but we need to figure out why, not give them a drug that kills their gut. It literally kills the gut. Omeprazole, things like that, you're not even supposed to be on them for, I think, more than 6 months or a period of time because it can actually destroy the digestive system in a lot of ways. So that would be a horrible way to start our childhood, right? Being on medications. And so if you're someone of your kids are on medications, I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything like that, but hopefully I'll hit a nerve that says, hey, you should need to do something different. There's a different way than just taking a pill, especially for kids. I mean, just think about that. If they're 5 years old now and they're on a medication, what's it going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Because the medication doesn't heal or cure anything or get rid of a problem. It just makes the symptom change. So their body's still having health issues, and health issues don't get better as we age unless you do something to change that. And a medication won't do that. So if you're a parent, your kids are on medications, I'm talking to you right now. Let's shift your thinking so you can shift their health, right? So number one thing to start to do for your kids' health, and you guessed it, it's going to be a removal of a few things. Number one is removal of, I'm going to write down 3 things to immediately take out of your kid's diet. And you're going to say, oh, this is so hard, it's so difficult. It's not hard and difficult. It just has to be done, right? It's all in our head. We think things are so much harder than they have to be. It might be hard for your kids for a week or 2 or even a month, but after that, they're going to get used to this new way. Okay? And it's to remove these things as much as possible. I understand sugars, it's going to be a little bit harder, but on their everyday diet, take dairy completely out, take gluten completely out. Those 2 things right there will make a big difference in your kids' health. Gluten, none of us can digest it. Our body sees it as an allergy. It creates an immune response. Something called zonulin gets released. Go back to my video just on gluten and how our body can't digest it and how it actually creates gut permeability and leaky gut issues. Right? So take gluten out of your child's diet. I was at my wife Holly was at a birthday party the other day for a little kid, 3-year-old. I think she was turning 4, and one of our neighbors actually had their child there, 7-month-old child, and she gave him birthday cake. Like literally gave his 7-month-old birthday cake. And that stuff infuriates me, and it makes me realize that people just don't know. Because no one knowingly hurts their child, no one knowingly does that, but I would say that's borderline abuse to give a baby birthday cake at 7 months old. I would say it's abuse to give a 1-year-old or 2-year-old birthday cake, or that crazy, all the food dyes and the sugars. And you might think I'm extreme. I think I'm just extremely intelligent. Sorry, I couldn't help it, but it's true. Like, I understand what's happening in the body, and so and to my opinion, it's intelligent to say that's probably a bad idea, especially because kids don't need it. Sorry about that. Sometimes I get a little out of control there. We can edit that part. I don't need to say because I'm intelligent and you're stupid. That's probably not a good way to win friends and influence people, is it? All right. But number one, here you go. Remove dairy, gluten, and sugar. And I would even put on top of that, I know I keep adding to it, corn and soy. Right? Dairy, gluten, corn, soy, sugar. Take these things out of your child's diet. None of them are necessary. And let me add another one. Let's put preservatives. I gave you top 5 just here in one thing. Remove these things from your child's diet. Our kids don't have any of these things. They just don't. It's never been a part of their diet. They've had some cheese. I take that back. Some organic raw cheese. But for the most part, none of these things. Sugar is like an apple. There'll be some sugar in that. Or we'll have these gummy bears we let our daughter have that have, I think in the whole package, big bag of them, there's 2 grams of sugar, so it's a very small amount. But really limit the amount of sugar. When you look at kids, they're eating so much sugar today and parents don't realize it. If I asked most parents, they would say, no, I don't give my kids as much sugar. But if I actually looked at their diet and I watch them, they're giving them a ton of sugar. So I would actually challenge you as a parent to look at it and say, how much am I actually giving my kid? What's in each one of these things? And then all the other stuff that turns to sugar, like a lot of the grains and corns and things like that, those are pretty much sugar. So number 1, remove preservatives. Okay? Number 2, for overall health for your kids is this one, I think, is becoming one of the biggest issues, especially since schools are doing what they're doing now, is screen time. Limit screen time. We have to reduce screen time for kids, guys. This is actually a really big deal. It affects their pineal gland. It affects our brain at such a high level to be staring at this blue light all day long. It really does. And then you also have what they're watching. This, and I'll just go ahead and talk about this right now, but then the whole thing on Netflix where everybody's canceling Netflix because of the cuties thing, and I 100% agree. We canceled it too. It's disgusting, the movie that they did. But at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? When I listen to the music, the music and the TV shows, and even the cartoons that a lot of parents let their kids watch, I don't think it's extreme to say that that's not much different. Like most of the songs are just demeaning to women and teaching little girls to be certain ways and things like that. So it's a moral thing, but it's also a health thing. Like how they see their bodies, that's a health thing. That's a mental health deal there, and how young boys learn to look at girls and women. So I just think that's a big deal. And so I kind of went on a side note there. I do that sometimes, but this screen time part is so important, that having your kids limit their screen time, get them, I'll call it blue lens, blue blocker. I think they're called blue blocker or blue lens glasses. They're glasses that block the blue light. And you can get those for your kids. Our daughter has them, and whenever she does watch something, we do one movie. We have a movie night every Friday. Movie night. That's it. That's all the screen time that is allowed in our house, and she doesn't care. She's outside playing all the time. Kids need to be moving outside, active, off video games. This is a health issue. I know you say, "Oh, my kids love video games." Of course they do. It's a health issue, though. Like it actually is messing up their brain. So please, for all of society, for all of us, and so our generations get smarter and healthier and better, it's literally, and I say for all of us because it changes DNA when we get unhealthy. Like people eating McDonald's every day, their DNA is being mutated. Big deal. All right, so screen time right here, shift it. Shift it for your kids. Draw the line in the sand and say, all right, kids, we're no longer watching TV every day. We're no longer doing that. And one of the best things you can do, the best way to get your kids to quit watching TV without having to make it a big deal is get rid of your TV. I know. I'm just on a roll today. How can society be better? Let's get rid of our TVs. There we go. Let's start one. All right. Number 3, for making, I got so stuck on screen time, I don't even know what I'm going to say next. Third leading thing I would say for kids in terms of overall health is, I think this goes with screenplay, but get them outside and play, and let them be in the sun. So I'm going to say sun time, and I'm going to say unsunscreened time. Okay? Now, I get it. You don't want your kids to burn, right? However, if you put sunscreen on your kids every time they go outside, or like, hey, let's say you're going to the pool, first thing you do is put sunscreen on. And I get it, they're going to get in the pool and they got to get on before. But the point is that blocks vitamin D. They're not actually getting the benefits from the sun that they should be getting. So give them some time. Let them spend 30 minutes, maybe depending on your child. Our daughter Isabel has very, very light skin, so we don't give her very long. But our daughter Eleanor she has a tan. She has a suntan, so she can handle more sun. And so we let her be in the sun for a while before we put any sunscreen on, and we use natural, organic, non-chemical sunscreen, and that actually allows their body not to absorb chemicals, because the truth is we're going to get cancer from the sunscreen, not from the sun. The sun's been around forever, right? Cancer numbers have gone way up since we've had sunscreen. So reduce the use of sunscreen. Let your kids get sun time. Cool? That's number 3. All right, so the last 2 that I'm going to do here are some of my favorite ones. Okay, number 4, and no good video on health is complete without it, but get your kids chiropractic care once a week to once a month. At least get them adjusted at least once a month. I would recommend once a week with the lifestyle and the world we live in today, in terms of the foods that they're eating, the falls, the accidents, all these things that they have. But chiropractic care is amazing for kids' health. Not only does it keep them from having major spinal issues when they get older, it also helps them in the moment. It helps their immune response be stronger, their nervous system function at a higher level, digesting food better. And when I said in the beginning, how do you help your kids to have acid reflux that's a baby? You get them adjusted. Like, you don't know how many kids have come into our clinic, and actually we've had parents bring their kids to our house, and when we adjust that baby, their reflux starts to go away, or and they come off these acid reflux medications. Or this is a great story. A patient just came to mind. So when she came in, a young girl, I think she's 5 years old, and I won't say her name, but 5 years old, came in, and she was having these really horrible abdominal pains. And she's had years of just being constipated all the time, and usually goes about once every other week, right? And when she came in, the horrible pains actually sent her to the hospital. They ended up going to the hospital, and the doctors think she had some ovary issues, but they couldn't see with the ultrasound because she was so constipated. Like, they couldn't actually see through the buildup. And so I was talking to her mom, and her mom was like, what can I give her? What can she take? And I said, she needs to get adjusted. So we adjusted her spine, and guess what she did that night? She pooped. And guess what she did every day since we adjusted her? She pooped. Then she got her ultrasound, and they were able to clear all that. So it's very common. I mean, I've had kids that haven't gone for 2 weeks. We adjust them, and they go right there on the table. So constipation, colic, acid reflux, all those things are crucial. One of the best things you can do is just get chiropractic care. If your child has no health issues, no symptoms whatsoever, guess what you should do? Get chiropractic care, because it helps their nervous system be strong. There's no better care than preventative care, right? So we got chiropractic care as number 4. The final thing, and there's just so many things we could put on this, so I'm trying to think just like quickly with the top 5 that I would pick. And I think if I had to pick the final one on here, I gave you all the nutritional ones in the beginning. I think I would go with maybe a supplement that you can give your kids, because they are inside so much. I think these 2 supplements right here, vitamin D3 and cod liver oil, can be 2 simple supplements you can give your kids. And I would even add a probiotic on there. So if I was to pick, and this is what we do for our daughter Eleanor, vitamin D3, cod liver oil, and a probiotic on a daily basis. It's usually about 3,000 IUs of vitamin D3 a day, a liquid, organic, whole foods form. But this helps their body make sure they get the things that they need, that they're not getting in their diet, that they're not getting outside enough in the sun. Even with as much as our daughter is outside, she still doesn't get enough vitamin D. So those 3 things right there. And this can help with brain function, everything else. If your child has ADD, ADHD, what I just told you right here, if you just did those top 5 things, number 1, took out the foods that I recommended, just that, you're going to see huge changes. Number 2, took screen time away or reduced it massively. Number 3, let them get out in the sun and experience and burn energy and running around barefooted, and all those things are amazing for their health. And number 4, getting chiropractic care and finally giving them these supplements. I would be very surprised if they didn't see some significant changes in and how they respond in terms of attention, paying attention, being hyperactive. If they're still having those issues, my next recommendation is get a food allergy test and a stool test to figure out why they're so hyperactive. Because if it truly is, if they're just not a boy being a boy, or a kid being a kid, then there's probably gut issues or food allergies that are more than what I just told you there in the beginning to take away, that we'll have to look at. But that's the recommendation right there. I think if you did that, you're going to see significant change in your child no matter what their health issue is. Cool? And if your child feels good, do all these things. This is just I'll be honest, like the reason I didn't think of any of these before we shot this video. I just said, okay, what are 5 things, and just started whipping them out real quick. And I could do that because this is how we live our life. My kids get chiropractic care since the day they're born. Every week they get adjusted. Sun time, they get out in the sun. We use organic sunscreens and sparingly. They don't look at screens ever, hardly. I mean, maybe an hour out of their week at the most. And none of these things are in their diet. And they've really not had any health issues. I've never, I think our daughter Eleanor has had 1 fever in 3.5 years. And Isabel hasn't had any yet. She's 9 months old. No health issues yet. She has Down syndrome, but that's, obviously that's different. But she hasn't had any health issues. And so it works. It's really a lifestyle change you have to make. And hopefully by shooting this video and getting you thinking that, hey, that drug, that medication is going to harm your child, and we got to get them off of it and get them healthy and actually letting their body do what it's supposed to do instead of interfering with a chemical, makeup of a medication. Hopefully that gets you thinking. It shifts your thinking, and so that you can actually shift their health. Cool. Hey guys, if you want direct help with your kids or with your own health, go to QueenCityHealthCenter.com. We'll connect with you. Call us, email us, whatever you want to do, and we'll connect with you and see what you can figure out to help getting your kids moving on the right track with their health. Hey, you guys have an awesome day. Like this, love it, and share it. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to connect with us and learn more, we're constantly shooting videos. We actually have a blog as well, and we have a website where you can learn so much more. If you want help with your health, you can actually connect with us, come into our clinic, or jump on a phone call with us and see if we can help you. To do that, go to the links below in the information area and click those areas, and then you can move forward and see how we can actually address and help you with your health issues as well.